All right, leaving the office on a Monday. It's a little after 5 o'clock. And that means it's probably going to be the worst traffic imaginable. That's okay though. It was definitely a good day today. It was quite productive. I'm gonna get my windows up here before we get moving too fast. Someone told me in the comments, people leave comments on these videos, which is cool. Someone told me that they started watching this and apparently like I ramble too much. So they're about to switch away from the video because I was rambling, and then I started talking about some software engineering stuff. And I guess the thing that I got to clarify for you if you're watching this is like, I'm literally going to be sitting in traffic. You are going to hear me ramble. No, I don't mean to crap on anyone for the comments. It's cool. Like I'm happy people are watching it and checking it out. But truthfully, if you want clean cut like stuff, go to my dev leader channel. You know, you gotta get through that light. Woo! That wasn't on video, right? Yeah, my dev leader channel has like edited videos edited not by me, so that they're actually in better shape. You know, I put a lot more time and effort into the content. It's you know, mistakes and stuff are cut out. I do live streams on that channel too, so you can see me messing stuff up and doing it live. But this channel is me in a car getting frustrated at traffic and talking about software engineering as much as I possibly can. So I apologize if you don't like the rambling, but just think like you get to hang out with me, right? That's got to count for something. I wanted to say a big shout out to Dave. Dave, I don't know how to say your last name. Is it Callan? I think it's Dave Callan. I like Dave a lot. Dave's a .NET content creator. That's not all he does, but that's how I know Dave from the social media world. Dave's awesome. He was putting out a ton of information about benchmark results that were really cool. But I think he's always got some really interesting topics to share with people. So on LinkedIn, he was. The reason I'm bringing this up is that he had mentioned this channel on LinkedIn, and he said that I should get a guest in the car. And then he had I can't remember what the show was called, but is it car karaoke or whatever? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. But you know, have the two people that are in the car, and I was like, yeah, I should get a guest and I should get them to sing. No, but I just wanted to say shout out to Dave because he's awesome. This guy better keep driving through this light because it's turning red. And then he was jokingly saying that because he knows that Jade Wilson, who I mentioned in one of the previous videos, he mentioned that Jade is... sorry, I'm trying to get through this light. I'm sitting in the middle of the intersection. He was like, oh, next time Jade's in town, you should have her on and like she can be the one to sing. And I was thinking it's funny because I had Jade in my car and she was vlogging, so it was kind of funny. But she has the footage for that, I don't. I was hoping this person in front of me would have moved up, and now I'm totally blocking the intersection like an idiot, but oops. But yeah, it's kind of cool that Dave was recognizing it. There we go, made it through. And that's me rambling, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about, this is going to be less like specific for, I don't know, like less specific for like general software engineering, distributed systems and stuff like that, more like kind of like entrepreneurship and kind of building something on your own. Still related to software engineering, but that's what I want to talk about. We'll see how it goes. But I've been talking about how I'm building BrandGhost, which is sort of the platform that I use for creating content and publishing content. It is, man, look at this bus blocking me in here. It's the thing that I've been like spending a lot more time programming on, to the point where like I can't write blogs because I don't have time, kind of thing. And that is very much like this other scenario that I had before BrandGhost, which was Meal Coach. And Meal Coach was sort of like a SaaS for nutrition that I was building that ultimately failed in the end. And a lot of it comes down to like, it's not a technology thing, which is kind of funny, right? I always say this, but like software engineering, the biggest problems are not technology related. It's everything else. So with Meal Coach, we had this nutrition platform that worked. Like it could basically do a meal plan for you. I know everyone's like, oh, LLMs can do that for you, but like if you're into nutrition, you might realize that like, that might be a good starting point, but like it's not really accurate. And then we also quickly learned that the US food database also isn't that accurate. So anyway, we had this solution that worked technically, but we had a lot of difficulty like just approaching people to try and get them to use it, acquiring users in general. Just like we struggled with that. And I don't think it's because we had something crappy. It certainly wasn't because like, oh, the code is bad. No one could see the code. So it's like this guy has really got to figure it out, man. Like, sorry, this person was driving like I needed to merge lanes and they just literally were not moving to let me in, which is infuriating. But Meal Coach wasn't like a technical challenge for us. And BrandGhost is similar. Like, it's not a technical challenge. There's some dumb stuff that we have to work through that has been challenging, but ultimately it's like the solvable problems for sure. So it kind of puts us back into the same spot, which is like, okay, we have a SaaS, we have a platform. How do we make sure that we're not, like, I don't want to fail at this one, right? And if it fails, it fails. It's not going to be the end of the world. But like, I want to prevent that. I obviously want it to succeed. So what do we got to do different? Because something's got to be done differently. And one of the lessons that we learned from before is like, when we finally tossed in the towel, we saw that there were two other competitors that we had never seen before. And we had seen what they were building, and we were like, man, like, they literally have built out all of the things we've been talking about, trying to debate, like, is it going to be a good market fit? They built all this stuff, they had tons of users, and we were like, it sucks. Like, we've been kind of spending time trying to ask questions about whether or not we have something that will solve problems, but the reality is, like, we knew it was solving problems because we are also the people that would be using it. So it solved someone's problem. And I think we were being too careful about like making sure it's a perfect fit kind of thing. Let's get this going one sec. Sorry, crappy spot on the highway. So this time around, it's like, okay, how do we trust ourselves a little bit more? You still don't just want to blindly like go building stuff and saying, oh, someone will use this. Like, you're going to waste a lot of time and maybe get very disappointed. But the reality is there's at least one person who absolutely needs it, who has seen success with it. And that's me. So with Meal Coach, one of the big differences is like, I wasn't using it, but I was also the target audience. So we didn't even have me using it Sorry, this car was driving so slow. We didn't even have me using it, even though I was the target audience. And like, it's because I was literally paying a coach for bodybuilding purposes and like wanted that accountability. So a different reason. But in this case, like, there's no doubt that it works. And that's not to brag. It's not like there's some secret sauce. Like, it's not, there's no doubt that doing this works. You have to be creating content, but the tool itself does exactly what we want it to, and there's proof. So that's really cool. So instead of going like, do we need to prove that the technology works? Is it feasible? We know the answer. We know the answer because it's been working for over a year. It hasn't been in the same form factor, but the concept has been working for over a year. So that part's out of the way. That's good. Now we need to see if it's resonating with other people. And one of the things that I want to be very cautious of here compared to Meal Coach, like a lesson, is like, I don't think is it going to resonate with other people? I think that's a mistake to frame it that way. It's not if it's going to resonate with other people. It's how do we find the people that it resonates with? Because I can assure you, I am very confident after having done this. It's not like it's been my career creating content, but what's the month? It's September now. It's almost October. Like, it's been, I can't do math. It's like, it's almost 22 months straight of creating content, posting stuff every single day. And I can tell you that this will help people. I just need to find the people that create content or want to create content the same way as me. The other proof that we already have is that, and I mean, it's only one user who's kind of like, what's the phrase I want to use? Like a early adopter. Like, he gets it right away. And I've talked about him before. He has a real estate business and a roofing company. And he's like, this is what I need to be able to have content going out. Right, so he understands that he's not doing it for content creation. He's doing it to support his business and advertise. So a whole different audience, right? But the point is that spending time trying to schedule and post content out across different platforms is a pain in the butt. So this is the problem that we're solving immediately. And all of this to say that I don't want to waste time trying to go, oh, is it a fit for people? It's not, is it a fit? It's who is it a fit for? And let's go find those people. Let's make sure we can get this in front of those people. That's a big difference, because I think we spent far too much time with Meal Coach trying to go, is it a fit? And like second guessing ourselves that, is it a fit? And we knew the whole time it was a fit, because I already said this, but like, we were an audience that would use it. So I'm already rambling more than I wanted to, but that's one thing I wanted to bring up about this process that we're going through right now. And so far it's cool. Like, I'm trying to avoid people's names and stuff, just because it's like not my place to kind of share on their behalf unless they want me to. But I had another content creator this morning that was getting set up on BrandGhost, and he was reaching out and asking some questions. And yesterday or 2 days ago, another content creator who he's been very busy, and he's been sorry that he can't get onboarded, but he was getting set up. But it's resonating. Like, they're going, oh, I definitely can see the value in this. So we're going through like an exciting time of like getting feedback and kind of getting those first users on board, which is cool. So that's why I wanted to talk about that part. But the other part that I wanted to focus on, and I don't have like all the, I'm not like a YCombinator nut who like tries to focus on everything that comes out of YCombinator. Like, kind of like how there's a lot of people that are like Elon Musk fanboys and stuff like that. I think YCombinator is super cool, but I don't know like I couldn't list like every company that's come out of YCombinator and all these stories and stuff. But in our group, the people that are working on BrandGhost, one of the people in particular follows a lot of YC stuff pretty closely, and I guess two people have kind of shared this before with us, like this idea of like do things that don't scale, and it's a pretty interesting concept. So I wanted to talk about this on this drive. Do things that don't scale, not because I'm an expert at it, and I want to kind of clarify that I don't want to sit here and like have a lecture. Oh, I'm doing things that don't scale. Listen to me. I wanted to talk about it because it's very relevant for the stage that we're at right now. And what was really cool, there's a YouTube video where they're like from YC, they're talking about a bunch of examples of doing things that don't scale to kind of illustrate what they mean by that. And oh man, this lane is garbage. I don't understand why traffic's so horrible on this highway all the time. So they were talking about like DoorDash, for example, and they were like, okay, so DoorDash, like their example of do things that don't scale is like they basically had a website, and as soon as like the way they phrased it was like, if by some miracle someone placed an order, the founders were basically rushing out as fast as they could to go pick up the food and deliver it, right? Like that obviously doesn't scale, but they're doing it because that's like what needs to get done, and they're going to be extremely motivated to do it and to do a good job because their business depends on it. If they did a crappy job and that word of mouth started to spread, people aren't going to want to pick up on that. But you can delight the customer, right? And then like you're setting yourself up for success. I'm going to butcher the Reddit example. I thought it was pretty cool though, because I didn't know this about Reddit. But when they had launched it, apparently they were like, okay, well, it's going to look kind of dumb because like we don't have users, right? Like here's this site where you can go submit links and stuff, but there's nothing there. Like, why is anyone going to want to show up here? So apparently they made like a tool that would every day with fake usernames just go submit links so it looked like the site was busy. And that's like a thing that doesn't scale, right? Like you can't just keep doing that. But they were talking about this example, and you know how they had a couple of friends check it out and stuff, and they reached a point where in the story, this is why I said I'm going to butcher it, but in the story they said they had gone out like partying or something, or they were out late, and they forgot or it failed to run like this tool that would go post for the day. And they had looked at they were kind of upset about it, and then they went to go check their telemetry or their metrics, and they were like, wait a second, like we actually had enough people on the platform that made up for it. And I think they were saying it was like 30 users or something. So cool. Like they kind of had this growth phase where they finally got to 30 users, and that was enough to not have to like use their little cheat anymore. They have more examples like this that they were sharing that I thought was pretty cool. But we've been talking about that a lot for us. And the first example that we kind of took to heart with BrandGhost was I only have a back end, or I only had a back end kind of service built to start things off. And that was me creating a code base that was migrating from some other sort of hack together stuff, and I was like, I'm going to build this for real. And I was migrating my own stuff over to use this back-end service. But I started talking with the guy who has the real estate company and his roofing business, and I was talking to him about posting content this way, and it's really resonating. So I said, look, man, like, I can get you set up. I will go configure it all by hand for you. All that you need to do is write your content. Tell me what you want in the post. We'll put it into, literally, like put it into a Google Sheet, and I'll get it posted for you. You're going to have to log into these platforms, So we could do like a screen sharing thing, and like you can log in, and or I can give you, I think I had to give him a password to log in, and then he could go do it on his side. But anyway, like we didn't have a user interface or anything. So like I had to go do it all by hand for him and set up like a one-off kind of thing to start posting his content for him. Now, here's the funny part. The first version of this, because the story's not quite accurate. The first version of this was technically before I had the service fully operational. I was still transitioning. So the first version of this was that I was posting the content for him. So I was the automation. Talk about things that don't scale, right? So not only am I managing all my own social accounts, by the way, after hours and using automation to do it, but now I took on this other person's accounts. I had 3 accounts that he wanted to post to. And the problem was that the automation that I had set up was not working. So I had a lot of incentive to make sure that I can get the BrandGhost backend up and running as fast as possible. Because if you can imagine, I've now just taken on manually posting someone else's social media, and I don't even manually post my own. So the whole point was that the thing that I used for myself in the very beginning wouldn't even work for him after I had told him to onboard. So manually posted stuff by hand. We worked our butts off to get all the back-end stuff working. At the same time, we put the front-end stuff in place. But, you know, that's an example of, like, that obviously doesn't scale. And I think it was the right thing to do. He's, you know, very interested. It got to prove to him the value of posting content this way. And I don't think that he doubted it, which is important to note. I don't think we convinced someone who thought this was a terrible idea. I think he thought it was a great idea, believed in it, and he just happened to be like, yep, this is continuing to work. So I think that was the right thing. Now, what else though, right? Like, what else are we doing like that doesn't scale? And something that we talked about is like, we wanted to build an onboarding process, and we have something in place right now. It's not, I want to be careful how I say this, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking badly about our product or the person that built it. I think we want more out of it, is how I'll say it. I think it's great. I think it absolutely works. It's cool. But I think when we set out to build it, we were like, we want more, and we're just not there yet, which is fine. It's going to take time. It'll take iteration. And what we've said is like, there's a handful of people that we've sort of invited to use the product, and it's open to everyone, by the way, but initially we invited people by hand, and the agreement that we had internally was like, I will manually onboard their content for them. So if they're like, hey, that sounds interesting, but I don't have time, that sucks. It sucks for me, because then my offer to them is like, point me at whatever content you want. Point me at your LinkedIn, your Twitter, whatever you want, and I will start taking your posts. And you can tell me if you want it filtered down to certain things or not, but I'm going to start taking your posts and putting them on like into BrandGhost, and you can turn them on, edit them however you want, but I will do it by hand for you. That guy's going real fast. So that's like one example, another example of things that don't scale. Because ultimately, we want to make sure people are kind of getting to that aha moment, and we know that to make sure they get there, we have to lower the barrier to get onboarded. We're well aware of that. But it's like the time investment to go build that and get that done really well, it's just going to take more time and effort, which is totally fine, right? Not saying we're not going to get there, but it's going to take time and effort. And in the meantime, there's a lot of other things to be building too. So if we can do the things that don't scale, right? If I can onboard people by hand, then that's what we'll do, right? So now we do have onboarding. Hopefully it works. for people and they can use it that way. And if not, if they're like, hey, sorry, I don't have time to do this, then I can at least jump in and be like, hey, look, like, I'll extend your trial. I will onboard your content by hand, because I'm confident if you liked the idea and we can get you onboarded, you're going to want to stick around, because once you don't have to worry about scheduling your content and posting it, you're never going to want to go back from it. If you're a content creator or a small business owner, if you have to think about going back to manually like scheduling content and stuff across platforms, no chance. I don't know if I've said this on camera before, but I've told my wife, I might have said it on camera, but like, if I didn't have BrandGhost, if it just stopped working, like, I might give up on content creation, because or like at least posting to social media platforms. Maybe I'd still make YouTube videos or something, but it would be like, I would feel so, I don't know, like, I don't want to say the word crippled. I don't think that's a good word to use, but I would feel so unable to like be effective. I just feel like I wouldn't be able to do anything, and it would be so much overhead that I would just be overwhelmed and give up. So that's why I got to make sure it doesn't fail. But overall, I think, yeah, those are two major concepts I wanted to talk about, like this idea of what we're doing differently. I wanted to talk about doing some things that don't scale. I'm hoping that period of do things that don't scale teaches us like where the gaps are, because if we're doing things that don't scale forever, that's probably an opportunity for things to improve on, right? Like, I don't want to be onboarding people's content for years to come, so how do we make sure they have that experience where they don't need me to do that? That's the idea. Okay. So that's that. I'm close to home here, so I'll probably just talk about some other random stuff, like how bright it is right here. But yeah, this week I mentioned this morning in the video, there's some more office travel, so that was pretty good for today. I'm going to be going into the office tomorrow and Wednesday. We're going to do a little off-site tomorrow, little team event, which is pretty cool. So excited to do that. Yeah, it's nice. Like, I know I've talked about like remote work and hybrid work and in office and stuff before, but it's nice to be able to be back in the office and do stuff on some days, right? Like, I love the flexibility of working from home. Unless I lived beside the office or something, I don't think you'd ever see me back in an office full time. That, or unless this podcast or this vlog, it's not a podcast, sorry, if this vlog somehow was making me millions of dollars or something like that, then sure, then yeah, get me driving. I'll drive however far you want me to go. But yeah, I don't like the time commuting. It's no good, but I do miss things like this, like going to have like a little, like seeing people in the office and doing offsites and stuff like that. It's cool. So that's what this week's going to be looking like. There's no space in this road. A lot of motorized scooters and stuff like that. And I don't mean like a moped. I mean, this person, I've seen a whole bunch of them in the past couple of years. Like, this, like I don't think that was an electric scooter. I think it had a little motor on it, but like a gas-powered electric scooter. Sorry, gas-powered. Can't speak. A gas-powered scooter. Here we go. Kind of neat looking, but this road is really windy and narrow, and there's not a lot of space for someone to be riding a scooter, so. And it's really bright too, if you couldn't tell, because I can't see anything. But I have the live stream tonight. What was my newsletter about? Oh man, I can't remember. Oh, failing interviews. So I'm going to be live streaming about that tonight. And then I'm going to do a coding stream in the morning, which I have not been doing recently, just because of schedule and stuff. Just had too much stuff going on. Like, I had on-call last week. That was my excuse, not be able to stream in the morning. So I'm going to be trying to stream tomorrow morning. I'm going to talk about Azure Blob Storage. And I'll try to make a little app or something. A little console app maybe, just to show how it all works. No one's driving through the intersection. I'll go, I guess. So that'll be cool. I'll do that at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Trying to think if there's anything else. There's an accident here. Very nice. It's out the other side. You don't get to see it. Sorry. It's just a little fender bender. But of course, they didn't pull off the road. Because why would you do that, right? So they're just blocking the whole lane. But whatever. I'm going to try my best to do a better job advertising our behavioral interview course. I don't like being pushy when I have courses that I've made, and like I'm just not like a good salesperson. Or hold on, let me take that back. I am trying to be a better salesperson. There we go. None of that negative self-talk, right? We got to talk about getting better all the time. So I am still someone that feels uneasy about trying to pitch things that cost money, and I'm trying to be better at feeling comfortable with that. And I think sometimes it's just like this, like, I wouldn't try to sell something to someone where it's just like, I don't care if this is of value to you, just give me your money. Like, that's not who I am. And I think it feels that way whenever I'm trying to like suggest that. Like if I'm like, hey, I got this thing, that I'm like, oh, they probably think that like I'm just trying to take advantage of them, and it feels bad. So I'm trying to be better at that. Like if I'm telling people like, hey, I have this course that helps you with X, like I wouldn't have made the course if I didn't think it was going to help. So like I should be telling people like, hey, I made this and I think it's going to help you. The other thing too is like someone, what was it, on Daily Dev, I don't know like if many people use that site, but I post it's almost like a little kind of Reddit type of thing, and I post links to my content, and someone on that platform, I posted a link to my course, and they said like it's pretty, I think they used the phrase like it's pretty cringe to like use a free platform to like advertise like a paid for product. And I was thinking like, man, like, okay, so name some other free platforms. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Like there's a million platforms. You're telling me that I can't advertise anything on those platforms because they're free? What? So anyway, I gotta get better at pitching stuff. But yeah, I don't like that feeling of like, it just feels wrong sometimes, but I need to remember if I'm making things that I think are going to help, if I have a course, great, let me share that with you. I put out tons of free content. That's where I was going. Put out tons of free content, and it's like, no one pays me for that. So like if you don't want to buy my course, that's totally cool. You don't have to. You just want to consume all my free stuff, that's fine. But like, don't guilt me into like, oh, it's so cringe that you're trying to do that. Like, give me a break. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.